I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
I'm not even supposed to be here today! Oh, fuck you!
Come on, you want me to drive? You're supposed to be suicidal. Remember, I'll
Anybody
drive.
a drive?
Get in the car.
Fuck me in the ass. Fuck you, you fucking stupid cunt.
Hey everyone, it's Don G. Corleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review. And this movie review is going to be for the newest release for this weekend, and that's going to be the new Bong Joon Ho film, Mickey 17, the adaptation of the novel Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. So, what is the plot of Mickey 17? Well, as I've already said, this is adapted from the novel Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton, and stars actor Robert Pattinson as this new guy that applied for a program called the Expendable. It's a disposable crew member on a space mission that gets selected for dangerous tasks because it can be renewed if his body dies, with his memories largely intact. With one regeneration though, things however start to go very wrong. So yeah, and I'm trying a little new thing. Usually I say the production stuff and then I say my reaction, but I decided this time I think I'm going to from now on start saying my reaction to the movie first. This will be the first time doing this. So, as for my reaction to Mickey 17, well, I never read the novel Mickey 7, but I saw the trailers for this film quite a few times. And, well, when it comes to the director Bong Joon Ho is a pretty decent director who's made stuff like Snowpiercer and The Host, and actually does seem like kind of a cool guy that's pretty passionate about his work. And the exception of the Twilight movies, I do like Robert Pattinson as an actor. I liked him in Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. I liked him in the Lighthouse. I liked him in Tenet. I definitely loved him in The Batman from Matt Reeves. So I was definitely interested in checking this film out. So how was this movie? Well, I saw it last night, and I would have to say, there were some problems that did kind of kick my head in a little bit, but regardless of those, I thought it was pretty great. I wouldn't say it's overly amazing, but it was a pretty good film, I gotta say. And probably the first non-7.5 out of 10 film this year. Again, there was some annoying stuff about the film, but I overall liked it. Yeah, so how was it made, though? Well, it was announced to be in development prior to the novel's publication in January 2022, and Bong Joon Ho would be writing, directing, and producing the film for Warner Brothers, and Robert Pattinson was in talks to star. Charles Yu had wrote additional material for the film as well, and Bond was intrigued by the concepts presented in the book, but he had made changes to the characters apparently, like right there. So I haven't read the novel, so I don't know much about it. And when it came to the role, and Robert Pattinson was actually the first actor to come in mind for the performance that required dual roles, and it immediately agreed to take the role after being offered it. And when it came to playing his clone Mickey 18, Pattinson improvised many lines as Mickey 18. Who starts off with an aggressive personality, and then grows as the duplicate that has to protect Mickey 17. And Bong Joon Ho storyboarded each sequence before filming it, and Pattinson helped to revise part of the script and give it humor and knowledge of saying that he would pretty much that would never come across much else. And also Robert Pattinson actually based his performance on Jim Carrey in Dumber and Dumber, especially with some comedic injuries that were similar. Then after the film was officially shot and marketed, Mickey 17 would premiere at the 75th Berlin International Film Festival on February 15, 2025, and then got released first in South Korea on February 28, 2025, then the next week in the United States on March 7th. And the reactions have been pretty positive from critics. But with that being said, though, I don't think this is going to really make much of a profit. To be quite fair, it'll be one of those things that, well, is well reviewed, but is not successful. I don't really see this kind of like really breaking even soon, because I'm not sure this is going to be really a film for everybody. It might get mixed reactions from audiences, and I don't really see this becoming a big success at the box office. But for me personally, I still found quite a bit to like about this movie. Like, the writing was pretty smart, and the sci-fi elements were pretty top tier, and executed exceptionally well, and it made a unique and engaging concept. And usually, most of Bong Joon Ho's films are mostly more serious and not very happy movies, but this was kind of a bit of a different twist on those kind of films. Like, this is not really a drama per se. It's more of a sci-fi dark comedy this time around, and it's kind of the film that Bong Joon Ho isn't known for much of doing. Anyway, so it's nice to see him do a different kind of movie. The characters, the backgrounds, the love story, the evolution, they unfold naturally within the plot, and the acting is pretty outstanding. Like, Pattinson, though, definitely shines. Like, the scenes he has with Mickey 18 and Mickey 17 are definitely pretty funny and pretty entertaining. Also, eventually do kind of start to develop well, where throughout the film, like, one's trying to kill the other, and then they have to kind of learn to get used to each other, because they have to take care of this real threat. And Robert Pattinson's narration is very entertaining and also very excellent. And the way he differentiates these two characters, his stature and body language is also very impressive. And the CGI is actually decently pretty well. And right there. And what I also like in this film is how Bong Joon Ho does help the audience determine the order by referencing the kind of usefulness on their journey, and, like, despite their importance, like, the expendable members like Mickey get ranked at the very bottom because of their disposability. And of course, there's more popular figure characters get regarded highly among everyone on the board, and like, it's a pretty well done kind of little interesting concept there. Like, right here, like, yeah, like, it's not just these two versions of Pattinson's character that he plays. Like, Pattinson plays all these other versions where he owned this macaroon shop, but Earth started to become a bit of a shit show, so he left for outer space. He didn't really read the expendable program, but he does get accepted anyway. And there's many other scenarios where he'll die quite a few times to get reborn, or even during one time, one's getting reborn, and one that's supposed to be supervised, and one of the experimenters that's supposed to be supervising isn't really paying attention, as on his headphones, and so the clone's new body starts to kind of limp onto the floor right there, or when one has to pop a pimple, and Pattinson's character narrates, "At least shouldn't get the one on my ass." And, like, yeah, so Pattinson's a lot of fun in this film to watch, as the various Mickeys and all the fatal situations that he gets put through. Like, and the original Mickey was aware of what he signed up for with his job. You don't really feel too bad for the misfortunes he experiences, and I definitely like the recurring joke throughout the film where Mickey gets often asked by others what it's like to die, and Mickey often responds with this look of annoyance. And yeah, like, so eventually we focus on like two versions of him, 17 and 18, and they don't like each other at first. They have to work together despite their different personalities, and Pattinson really plays each of them pretty well. And the movie's a good showcase for a range Pattinson has as an actor, with 17 being a more level-headed protagonist, and 18 is a more wild-card supporting sidekick. So, how do we start off this film? Well, we start off with our two lead characters. Our actual technically lead character, and his friend he has. And Mickey Barnes, our protagonist, and his friend named Timo, they're now, like, bankrupt because their business venture has failed. and they have to flee from a loan shark, and so they can't pay their debts. So they have to pretty much sign up for this crew for the spaceship that's leaving Earth to get out of Earth. And this ship is leaving to colonize the planet with these creatures called Niflheim. And Timo gets assigned as a pilot. Mickey, on the other hand, gets assigned as an expendable. But apparently he forgot to read the application, but he gets assigned anyway. And Mickey, though, once he gets into the program, he gets treated as disposable and given lethal assignments because every time he dies, it gets reprinted using technology that was banned on Earth. And then during the voyage, Mickey then starts to have romantic feelings with this one member named Natasha Burrich, who's a secret agent, and therein you know where the story's going to go from there. Like, and throughout the film, Robert Pattinson and Naomi Aki do have some good romance chemistry with each other that really does work well in their scenes together, whether the Mickey or the Mickeys are involved, and the cast do this great job in keeping it funny and real. Well, okay, except for one actor who I do not like. We'll get to that later. And the narration during these scenes is pretty well done, and it really keeps the pace moving along. And because, yeah, guys, this movie does have narration. Mickey 17, the movie gets narrated by Mickey himself, like jumping back and forth from past to present in creative ways. And it is kind of non-linear, but it's not really non-linear that does feel really jumbled. Like, yeah, it does get a little confusing at times, but the time jumps to add context to the fascinating sci-fi world that's worth exploring. Like, nearly every cast member nails their respective roles. It's Robert Pattinson, the one that's easily the best, but majority of the other actors do well. There's Stephen Yeun, who plays Timo, and he's actually pretty terrific as Timo. He does this great job showing how backstabbing and selfish the character can be. Right there. And Naomi Aki is actually also pretty wonderful as Nasha. After, especially, like, definitely a very talented actress in the role. The performance of this film, like, really proves that, like, it proves, like, I actually do want to check out more stuff she does. Sorry, guys, like, sorry I'm starting a little bit. And of course, there's two villains in the film. One of them is played by Toni Collette, who is actually brilliant as Zilpha. Like, Tony's character actually was kind of an entertaining satire on the political stuff, and our other villain is played by Mark Ruffalo, who's probably the one actor in the film the one character in the film that just wasn't entertaining in my eyes. I honestly feel like I wish his character was cut out, and the only villain was Toni Collette's character, because, as most of you know, I hate Mark Ruffalo for a lot of reasons. Because, one, not just because I don't like how his Hulk is portrayed, but because the guy defended She-Hulk, the guy defended a pedo. So yeah, I really wish this character was not in the film. Because it's probably the one thing that really annoyed me watching this. Like, so, after we get to meet, like, Mickey and Nasha, they land on a snow planet called Niflheim, which is pretty much owned by these native life forms called creepers that prevent full colonization. Mickey 17th, the 17th iteration of Mickey, he tries to capture this creeper for analysis, but he ends up falling to a fissure of ice. Timo sees Mickey 17 being swarmed by creepers, but he pretty much leaves him for dead, reports him dead. The creepers immediately push Mickey 17 out of the fissure, though, and enable him to return to the ship. Then, after Mickey 17 goes back to the ship and gets back to his quarters, he finds our other Robert Pattinson, Mickey 18, already there. And it's kind of a bit of a shock because, like, we find out, like, in the movie we learned that having multiple versions of yourself is actually forbidden, like, and the only one who can use it is, well, Kenneth Marshall, Mark Ruffalo's character, can use the clone technology with the proviso that if the multiples can occur, all clones could be killed immediately. And so Mickey 18 knows this and immediately tries to kill Mickey 17. But Mickey 17 resists, and then decides an arrangement for both of them to live by rotating their duties, meals, and deaths. And So Mickey 18 accepts this and leaves with Nasha, and of course, then Mickey 17 goes to have dinner with Kenneth Marshall, Yilfa, and a security agent named Kai, and right here you get this cringy scene where this is one of my bad qualities. You get this cringy scene where they sing this prayer together, and I will admit that was just honestly so stupid. They're like, and then of course Mickey 17 reacts badly to this meal of experimental meats and treatment with painkillers, and to the point where he then just starts throwing up and stuff. And then of course, you know how that, and of course gets taken back to his quarters as results. Like Bong Joon Ho's stamp is definitely apparent because he like really does blend sci-fi, dread, and comedy into the package. It does ask questions concerning like humanity or the cloning or the science or the religion, and the world we get introduced to in the film is actually pretty believable for the most part. And also, the movie does delve into themes of desperation and survival and explores the lengths for that individuals would have to go to avoid death. Like, director Bong Joon Ho does really prove that he's this master storyteller. And Mickey 17, like I've already said, it's not your typical Bong Joon Ho film. It's a signature touch that really does leave an ability to lead through some provoking themes and engaging narratives. And so after Mickey 17 is treated with his reactions and gets back to his quarters, Nasha though is now already aware of the whole situation with 17 and 18 and wants to help both of them. So 17 and 18 now have to further endure one another, and then they get seen by Kai, who tries to negotiate with Nasha over sharing the Mickeys, but Mickey 18 then gets immediately angry when he finds out about the whole dinner and now wants to go kill Marshall, and 17 and Nasha chase after him. And then we see Marshall as having this public ceremony with this rock called a Niflheim rock. Then more chaos happens when creepers interrupt from the rock, and so Mickey 18's attempt to kill Marshall has failed. And I will admit, there were some funny bits, like here where this guy in a chicken suit is trying to escape and the door closes on him and you hear the Willem scream, or this whole bit's kind of a funny thing with all the backfirings and he attempts to kill Marshall. And like during this whole bit, like one creeper does get killed, but one gets captured, and so 17, 18, and Nasha are all exposed, and Marshall has all three of them arrested. Then, of course, the ship gets surrounded by creepers, and they're calling out to the creeper inside. So while they're in the like jailbreak, which is pretty much these small little jail cells on top of one another, 17 describes his experiences with the creepers, and so Nash after that realizes that the creepers are not actually hostile at all. So then the trio get taken out of the brig and they're brought before Marshall and Yilfa. Nasha does try to defend the two Mickeys, but they dismiss her, and Marshall immediately is planning this new gas that will kill the creepers, but Yilfa and his assistant Preston urge, and so he resists that and decides that he'll allow the Mickeys to go outside and kill the creepers themselves, and also have one of them die. And whoever does win is allowed to live. Whoever gets the task first is allowed to live, the other will die. So, our two Mickeys, they get sent out to peacefully seek out the creeper mother. Marshall, though, when they do seek out the creeper mother, though, Marshall's enraged, and it prompts him to go outside himself with this team to kill the creepers. And so they're trying to go, because the Mickeys are trying to negotiate with the mother. The script is pretty well polished, and every scene does move the action forward, and Bong Joon Ho does make some brilliant use of like the first-person narration through our Pattinson's character, whether he's first, like when we first meet him, he describes life on Earth, or whether he's describing his time on that ship and getting to know all the crew members, or all the times that all his Mickeys got killed, and it does add depth and really immerses you in the world of Mickey's existential crisis and what he's putting himself through in the expendable program. Like, the film does have every laugh out loud moments, or, of course, an existence questioning, or there, and you actually do kind of feel some deepness for the two Mickeys and our female lead Nasha. Right there, and by the end, like Mickey 17, like really does connect you to whether it's the fear of death or rejection or the struggle for survival. Like the movie does offer a timely escape where empathy can overcome like cruelty and the other side of the galaxy, or you get exhilaration exhausting to measure. And in execution, it's actually done pretty well. But there's some times where it does feel a little bit slow paced. And sometimes where sometimes where it does kind of get boring sometimes, and you do have some funny moments like when the Mickeys meet each other, like when Mickey 17 is stunned to see that Mickey 18's been printed out because they assumed Mickey 17 was dead. And of course, Mickey 17 panics because there's now doubles of him. And of course, because we all know doubles were banned, because the reason why doubles were banned is because there was this serial killer named Alan who used a cloning printer to make copies of himself to carry out murders of the homeless and establish an alibi of himself, and thus as a result, anybody caused doubles would be killed for good. So 18 knows of this and tries to kill 17, but then of course the two villains show up and then they have to hide, or any of the scenes where any of the two Mickeys have to kind of force to endure one another. Like at first, they don't like each other, but they know they have to because they know how much of a threat Marshall and Yilfa really are, and so they don't really have much of an option or when 17 gets taken back to his quarters and Mickey then kind of sleeps with Nasha and the other Mickey tries to join in stuff, or that fight in like the whole garbage room where 18 tries to knock 17 into the whole little lava pits, or that's in that garbage room. Like the scenes with the two Roberts are pretty entertaining as well, and also seeing all the moments where Mickey dies and gets reborn, or right there. Yeah, like that's easily the best. That's easily what makes the film. Like, I don't care for the stuff with Ruffalo, or I don't care too much about that stuff, or much of the backstabbing friend, really. Like, what really does make the film is the two Roberts. The two Roberts are what do make the film pretty good. And also, like, the whole effects, the designs of the creepers, and the immersed world that we're introduced to, like, that's the stuff that really is why I like the film. So now we get on with the finale, where how the movie ends in this whole final sequence. Mickey 17 has his translation device to warn the mother about Marshall's plan. But of course, the mother now wants to kill all humans unless her child gets returned to her. And so one human is killed for a killed child. In recompense for a killed child. And Mickey 17 immediately communicates this to Nasha. Then Nasha attacks Yilfa. And that's how she's able to get the creeper child. And a handful of agents do rise against Marshall and Yilfa because they're appalled by their behavior. Nasha manages to get the creeper to the mother. Mickey 18 fights Marshall. And Mickey 18 decides to actually sacrifice himself and kills Marshall in a murder-suicide to fulfill the mother's request. There, and so that's the end of Marshall. And so at least the mother creeper gets her kid back. Then, movie's not over. Now, there's a bit of me that did kind of wish the movie would end a little bit quicker at this part. Like, the actual last scene we see is that it's 6 months later, and Nasha has risen to be to kind of be the leader in the new colonized planets, and there's a ceremony on Niflheim. As part of the ceremony, like, Mickey 17 has this dream where Yilfa's still alive and cloning Ruffalo's character. Marshall, and this is kind of where I kind of got a bit of ending fatigue, because I feel like we didn't need much else. Like, I feel like I feel like this should have just been the end of the film right there. Like, just the ceremony was perfect enough. I don't think we really needed a nightmare sequence or that. I almost thought like there was going to be yet another whole sequence right there. And then, of course, we have one last little thing where anyone like that was associated with Marshall and Yilfa were arrested. And our garbage guy character that we met, that we also like met during the whole Mickey 17 scene, actually is actually forced to do some community service. And once he got out, he then met this guy that he feared meeting, and then he fought him to the death and actually won. And the guy he feared actually fell into the lava pits. That's how. There we see a little more about the characters, like when Mickey 17 is now simply called Mickey Barnes by Nasha. And of course, after the whole nightmare sequence with Yilfa, he detonates a printing device as a way of ending the expendable program for good. And he narrates how he wished he kind of got to know the other Mickeys and their personalities, but that's how Mickey 17 ends. The new planet is now colonized there, and so like that, so at least it's a pretty good ending. That's how it ends. So, would I have bad qualities with the film? Yeah. There's times when the story does seem a little wavering between being a survival thriller or a psychological drama or a social satire, and it doesn't really commit all that well. The narration does suffer from a bit of an uneven pace, whether there's tense moments and sluggish selections. And that's kind of why the film wouldn't really be for everyone, because that could frustrate some viewers a little bit. And I feel like the movie could have been 10 minutes shorter right there. Because there's times when the movie did kind of feel like it dragged on a little bit too long. And Kenneth Marshall, I just found the character not entertaining at all. I just found his character really annoying. And it's just a villain we've already seen, just a typical present villain we've already seen many other times. Right there. And by like minutes shorter, I feel like some sequences should have been trimmed. Like, that were just kind of overdone. But still, the film's storytelling does work well. It makes for this entertaining and thought-provoking experience. So, other than the bad qualities, I still liked Mickey 17. Maybe not an 8 out of 10 I'll revisit, but it's the first 8 out of 10 for me this year. Maybe that might change, but it's not one I'll probably... It's one of those 8 out of 10s I might not really revisit a lot. I mean, sometimes I give a movie 8 out of 10, but it doesn't mean I have to revisit it every time. So in the end, maybe watch and buy Mickey 17 for your collection if you're a Bong Joon Ho fan, because it is quite an entertaining film. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review of Mickey 17. If you're anything to rank Mickey 17, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you have liked all of Bong Joon Ho's other movies, then you're probably going to like this one as well, so I would probably watch it by Mickey 17 for your collection, no doubt. And if you're anything to rank Mickey 17, I'm going to give Mickey 17 an 8 out of 10. Alright, there we go, guys. So, I know there's probably going to be some people that might disagree with me on this film or stuff, and sorry if this review wasn't really all that great, but now I want to know, but I still want to know in the comments down below what you guys thought about Mickey 17, whether you liked it or whether you hated it, or whether you're more mixed. Yeah, I got nothing else to say. And until then, guys, that'll be it for this review. Thank you all for watching. If you like this, want to see more, don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.